Welcome back. At a time when the world is actually hailing Bharat's G20 success, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge mocked the G20 Summit as the G2 Summit in Parliament. Now, according to him, you can only see G and 2. This has been replaced with the globe and the Kamal ka Phool. So it's like G2. That's what he had to say. That's covered with the lotus and the election symbol of the BJP. Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar promptly corrected Mallikarjun Kharge, stating that it was the G20 Summit, to which the senior Congress leader responded. The zero was covered with a lotus. The BJP hit back, invoking the 2G spectrum scam during the Congress government to take a swipe at Mallikarjun Kharge and the Gandhis. Was it a blunder or just political banter?
हमने वो किया ये ठीक है, G2 ठीक है, G2 क्या G20 सर? नहीं, क्योंकि वो जीरो में कमल का फूल ही दिखता था। अब देख
G20 की मजाक मत उड़ाइए, G20 बहुत
अरे मजाक नहीं भाई,
लेकिन सर शायद माननीय लीडर ऑफ द ऑपोजिशन कांग्रेस के अध्यक्ष भी हैं, उनको तो सिर्फ 2G दिखता है, 1G एंड सन जी।
मैं ईमानदारी के साथ कहता हूँ, देश की जब बात आती है उसमें हम सब लोग एक हैं, उसमें कोई फर्क नहीं। लेकिन तुम बार बार वो गुत्ता मत लो, तुम भी पैट्रियट हो। इन्फ्लेशन कंट्रोल करना इम्पोर्टेंट है, नहीं तो डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाएगा डेमोक्रेसी। अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट अगर बढ़ती गई तो डेमोक्रेसी नहीं रहेगी।
So was it said just in jest, or did he actually mean to disrespect G20 as a platform? Because there's a problem with this. Now look at this. We've got our guests George Kurian and Nalin Koliji on the screen, and what's visible here on the big screen is the globe with the Kamal ka Phool that makes the G20. But Nalinji, was that banter? Why was that sharp reaction that came from Piyush?
With due respect, how can this be considered just banter on something as important as G20, and that too in Parliament? I mean, Mallikarjun Kharge is a very senior leader. He's experienced. He's the Congress president. So one would expect that he, not only from his experience but from his political status, would be well aware that you don't run down something as important as the G20, and particularly not as important as how the Delhi summit has taken place and the Delhi declaration. So it can't be dismissed as banter. It obviously smacks of something deeper. Perhaps it has to do with the deep dislike that the Congress party has with anything that is successful under Prime Minister Modi. And therefore they make it personal. And I think Piyush Ji was reacting to that in the same way.
George Kurian?
First of all, a very good evening to you, Anand, Nalin ji and the audience. I would like to begin by saying that, we all understand that, Kharge ji is a seasoned politician. I don't need to elaborate on his experience when it comes to parliamentary procedures. He has got the administrative and legislative experience as well. One should have taken this in a little sporting way, I believe, because it is not that Kharge ji doesn't know it's G20. It is just to make the moment a little, enjoyable. I believe that one could have taken it that way, but Piyush Goyal ji, jumped in and tried to just corner Kharge ji on that one. So the Congress party understands the efforts that the ruling government has shown in carrying forward the G20 presidency in India, and it has been done very well. There is no two ways about it. India has been on the global map. Having said that, it is equally important for the ruling dispensation to also look into the rising inflation, the growing unemployment, which is also very important when it comes to India as big as a nation of 140 crore. I'm sure that Nalin ji would agree on this one, because the growing unemployment and inflation is taking India to a different level altogether. All this G20 and all these events, nobody can touch the Bharatiya Janata Party when it comes to event management and capitalizing on the situation and making it so big and large, and to bring out of it. But having said that, as I said again, there are some situations and issues which are.
Was there a backhanded compliment for the BJP there? when you said that nobody can match them in trying to make an event or to take it to a scale that nobody envisaged. But my question before we get you, Nalin Koliji, to answer your question that there are other important issues. The fact is, George Kurian, why is the opposition and why did Kharge ji allow the BJP to appropriate the lotus? The lotus is far more bigger and far more symbolic than just being the election symbol of the BJP. Why is the opposition, especially the Congress party, allowing the BJP to appropriate symbols and, marks of our heritage of Bharat, which belong to the country? Why allow them the grounds to appropriate it for their party?
See, Anand, we all know that lotus is a national flower, and one could have looked at it that way also, because and I strongly believe that, as I said earlier, Mr. Kharge ji must have put that forward in a lighter mode, but the Bharatiya Janata Party didn't take it that way and just jumped to the conclusion. Having said that, there are many issues of serious concerns to the nation, like the China border, the growing unemployment, with respect to women's security, and there are so many issues that can go on and on. But I'm sure the ruling dispensation will look into these grave concerns.
So focus on the far more serious issues like inflation, like the issue tensions at the LAC, Nalin Koliji. Why respond to a jibe or a banter like this?
If it were a banter, that clarification would have come in the Parliament House. And Kharge ji would have spoken exactly what Kurian ji is saying on this show, that it's very well organized, we are proud of it. It hasn't come, no. So it has to be taken a little more seriously, because Parliament House is not the equivalent of a comedy show on television. Parliament House and what happens on the floor of the Parliament is something important that will be recorded forever. And therefore there's value to it. And when it comes from Kharge ji, and I'm saying it out of respect for him, that he's a very senior man. He's the national president of the Congress party. So when he says something like that, how can it be taken so lightly? So Piyush ji reacted to that. Now let's come to the second part of what Kurian ji is saying with regards to other issues. I mean, if you want to connect everything in the world, then the most absurd things can also get connected. That while you are having a cup of tea, can you tell us about the rainforests in Africa? It doesn't work like that. G20 is G20, the other debate issues are other debate issues. There's no need to try to appropriate the or hit the G20 successful event that it was organized by trying to link it to other issues. All the issues that you raise about, BJP has never run away from a discussion from anyone. Let's take inflation. On inflation, the average inflation rate under the Congress UPA used to be about 8% went up to 13% inflation, over 13%. Under Prime Minister Modi, it's mostly been in the 4 to 6 range. Currently, it's about 7.5, 8. When has it ever touched 13? It's never even touched 13. Take the 10 years of the Congress UPA and take the 9 years of Narendra Modi. So where is that comparative? So therefore, the Congress I find a very interesting approach of the Congress. What they do is, they will never make a comparative with their tenure because it was a disaster. What they will do is match unequals, apples and oranges, compare them, and then try to create an argument that instead of speaking on G20, they will say, okay, let's talk of inflation. This is not a serious discussion. Let's say we'll start talking on inflation. We are ready to talk on inflation. We are ready to talk on your so-called unemployment. Then what they'll say, no, while you're talking of this, please also tell us that what happened in the case of, say, the China border. Then you'll say, okay, let's talk of the China border and let's talk of the Congress party and its relationship with China, going soft on China. They'll say, no, but wait a minute. Why don't we now talk about this? So they are not interested in the answers. It's about allegations.
And shifting of goalposts. The other point, George Kurian, G20 will remain G20. The logo will go. Next logo will be by, you have South Africa coming in next. So where is the problem? So they will have another logo. G20 remains G20 only. I'm just saying, why does the Congress give direct attention to where perhaps nobody else has even paid attention?
Well, Anand, I don't believe that, the Congress party, or for that matter, the leader of opposition on the floor of the House is trying to give any kind of an ammunition to the Bharatiya Janata Party to hit back at us. But having said
not
that,
ammunition, sir, you're giving attention. Most people would not have even registered that the G20 logo, the 20 is actually a globe on a kamal. That's the design. Most people would have said G20, oh, this is BJP organized or government has organized. However it is done, it's great for Bharat. That's where it was. Kharge ji on the floor of the house has now directed attention. Everybody will now look at that G20 logo. That's what I'm trying to say.
Anand, everything that the BJP does, the way it functions, the way the parliament is functioning, it's totally different the way from, it used to be functioning earlier before this. So post 2014, we have all seen that, the kind of inflation, as I said earlier, has grown up, the unemployment has grown up, the border issues with China for that matter. Having said that, and keeping that aside, it's also about the party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the way it functions with the parliament. The session has been called, which is a special session, because there is no question hour, there is no 0 hour, there is no private member bills here, so that the members can question the ministries and the ministers for the functioning of the ministries. So it is important that the government should have come clear on the agenda of the special session, because having called the special session.
See, again you shifted the goalpost altogether, George Kurian. You've shifted the goalpost altogether, like quadrilateral demonstrandum, what Nalin Kohli just said. What am I asking you and what are you trying to argue? I'm just straightforward asking you. The Congress today, right now on the floor of the House, we just played it in our opening montage. Kharge ji said anything which is for the good of the country, every party will stand by it. Congress always stands by good for the country. Did the Congress actually stand with the BJP and the government in the organization of the G20? Did it actually do it in spirit? You please tell me that.
I'm sure.
He has made a statement on the floor of the House, not just as President of the Congress Party, but also as a Member of Parliament. Has he said the truth that the Congress was in spirit with the BJP and with the government in the organization of the G20? They never made a racketous noise. There was no member or MP of the Congress Party who was either in India or on foreign soil ratcheting up a whole amount of opposition-related criticism and bile at a time when everybody should have come together to ensure that the best of India is presented. Has he actually stated facts on the floor of the House? Let's stick to this, sir.
Well, Anand, the question that you have raised, it's a very valid one, and I will leave it to the people of India to judge on that one. Has the Congress Party or the United Opposition given importance to the G20 Summit which has happened in India? So that we will leave it to that one. But having said that, it is important the way the Bharatiya Janata Party functions with full clarity. There should be it should carry the opposition along with them, not keeping the opposition, kind of in suspense. That is what the opposition is a little worried about the agenda.
So the BJP is not carrying the opposition along. The BJP did not invite everybody.
But when it comes to parliamentary procedure.
Nalin Kohli ji, you made the press conference, not the Congress Party, which said President of Bharat invitation letter.
I think the Congress needs an issue. It's not finding one. So the effort of the Congress Party is to manufacture an issue. In their attempt to manufacture an issue, they often do a self-goal. I mean, in a political sense, perhaps some would say, what better for the BJP? That the Congress is constantly scoring a self-goal. The logo of the G20 was never an issue. Do you make an issue of it? I mean, the G20 is far larger than the logo. And as you correctly said, it will change with the next summit. So now that's for the Congress Party to reflect. It really can't expect advice from me, you or anyone else, or even Kurian ji on this program. But on a completely aside, I must also, Anand, place my appreciation for this debate, because it's been a very civil debate. We've had the full opportunity to put our points out. I must thank my fellow panelist also, Mr. Kurian, that we've not spoken over each other. And I'm sure your viewers have also enjoyed the discussion. Each one of us has a right to put our points across. And ultimately, we have to leave it to the wisdom of the viewers in whose points they see more merit.
But the challenge, you also sidestep the issue, Nalinji. The argument from the Congress Party is, or from the opposition is, you have taken them for granted, you are not including them, आप उनको साथ में लेके नहीं चल रहे हैं. This is
okay.
the
I'll answer that. I'll answer
So this
it.
entire
I'll answer
mocking,
it.
this entire
How is it borne by
banter
facts?
or jibe taking is all because don't have the opposition, you're not carrying the opposition with
Let's
you.
start.
Ji.
Okay. Do they want to be carried along? That's the counter argument. And I'll tell you session after session. What do they say? We want a discussion in the parliament. What does the government say? We are ready for a discussion in parliament. Then it becomes, no, not this discussion under this rule, it should be under that rule. Then the speaker will say, hey, you wanted a discussion. This is how it is. Shall we have a discussion? Then it's held up for a few days. You see it, the session after session. After that, what happens? Then there will be a debate. Everybody on the treasury side, on the government side, will listen. इनके क्या point है, इनके क्या point है, इनके क्या point है. Then when the BJP will answer, they will leave the house or they will slogan. But tell me, is this what they want? वो आप कह रहे हो आप इन्हें अपनाना नहीं चाहते. मेरा सवाल है क्या ये अपने आप को अपनाना चाहते हैं? मतलब do they want to be taken into confidence? I don't think they want it. So that's why I said the shifting of the goalpost is the clear indication of how the Congress party and the opposition is functioning. No matter what you do, they will change it. There's this famous story now of the camel and the tent. That first the camel said, I want my head inside, it's cold, then the neck inside, then the body inside, and then the person was outside. Basically, there was never anything about stopping at anything. It's just about changing the goalpost.
Final word, 30 seconds, Kurian. Please, George Kurian.
Anandji, I would like to respectfully disagree to Nalinji here, what he has said. We had seen the budget session in the parliament where the united opposition was,
All right, gentlemen,
trying